Hi, I'm Marty Schupak. Welcome to Schupak Sports, where we cover different sports skills and tips. And we also do interviews, people that are involved in not just youth sports, but any type of sports, going all the way up to adults and different trends in the sporting goods also area and everything else. Today, we're going to talk about the difference between interference and obstruction in baseball. I'm also going to go over a drill, a first and third defensive drill, which I think you'll really enjoy, and plus a hitting drill, which has really helped me over the years and helped my team and my players when they have two strikes on them. Before we get started, I'd like to give you a trivia question. US presidents. How many US presidents have played college sports? I want you to try to think about it, try to come up with the presidents, the college they played for, and maybe the sport or sports that they played. All right, talking about interference and obstruction. Interference basically, it's called on the offensive player. It's an act by the offensive team that will impact a defensive play. So if a base runner is running from second to third and he bumps into the shortstop who's about to make the play, the umpire has a discretion to call interference. Usually, when interference is called, it's obvious. On the flip side, obstruction is called on the defensive team if they're kind of making an impact on an offensive player or players. And a easy way to remember this is if you see the word iod, okay? Interference is called on the offense. Obstruction is called on the defense, okay? All right, a lot of times interference happens when the players are not watching where they're running and they might be watching the ball. And really, they have to be observant of both. I'm going to go through a drill uh, to help players be aware of both interference and obstruction. Okay, this is the first drill, and I'll hold it close so you can see it, as my producer wants me to do. Okay, then I'll show you what we do. We line up players at second base. They don't have their gloves. I don't know why it's showing these players with their gloves. And what I do is I put two baseballs about where the shortstop and the third baseman are supposed to be. And what I do is I am between the pitcher's mound and home plate. I'll yell go, and the first player will run from second to third, and I'll throw a ground ball towards where the baseballs are. Now, what he has to do is he has to run to third base, but he's got to go around the baseballs, and at the same time, he cannot get hit by the moving baseball. I do this once a year just to make players aware of what exactly they have to do to avoid the fielders. So again, if the base runner runs into a fielder, it's interference. And again, the umpire has a discretion either to call it or not call it. And in this drill, what we're doing is we're having the players avoid the defensive player and also the moving baseball by going around. Now, if you want, I use baseballs. I've also used players, just have them stand there or get into the ready position. And I tell them, don't field the ball. And what I'll do is I'll throw the ball between them. And again, the player running to third has to bypass the players and the ball. It's a good drill, and it's making base runners aware of where they're running. Another thing, a lot of times where base runners get caught with interference is when they make wide turns around bases. All right. Okay, so that's interference. Now, if you follow baseball, you could look up uh, a few World Series games, and I remember there was a fan interference called where I think it was Jose Altuve hit a fly ball down the right field line, and Mookie Betts tried to catch it, and a fan interfered. Now that's fan interference, okay? So I'm gonna put a link down uh, on my YouTube channel. It's not going to be there for a long time, but I'll link you to a couple of plays that happened in the World Series and playoffs. So that's interference. Again, the base runner run into another base. He can't bump into the player, make physical contact. All right. Now, let's talk about obstruction. I have one example that explains it very cleanly. And again, remember the term iod. Interference is called on the offense. Obstruction is called on the defense. All right. On this play, and where I found out where obstruction happens a lot, on a baseball that's hit, let's say, into the gap, and the player will round first, okay, and the first baseman is playing off the base, he'll be looking at the ball, and the base runner will run into him. That's obstruction. The fielder has to get out of the way, the first baseman. So I set up a play where I have the first baseman turn his back to the play, or he's facing center field. I yell go, and the first one at home plate runs to first base. As he's touched the base, I yell turn. The player turns around first base and he looks. He has to react and get out of the way. I rotate players doing this. Even if a player is not a first baseman, have them play first. Have the base runners go through your team, everyone running the bases, running this play. It's effective. It'll help their base running. And don't forget, you want your base runner to learn how to avoid guys in the field. You want to protect your team for potential obstruction because sometimes the umpire may not see it. I've had games where there's a lot of young umpires and they might be watching the ball in the outfield. So you want to teach the player what it is, but the base runner, you want to tell him how to avoid running into the fielder. Okay? Make your fielders aware of this. They must get out of the way. That's interference and obstruction. Remember the word iod, okay? And I'll put down some links for a few days where you could go to, you could see some of the calls. Okay, next I'm going to go over a first and third defensive play. Okay. In this play, I call it the create doubt play. And if you excuse me, I'm going to stand up. It's a first and third situation. I'm going to hold this up. Okay. Player on third, a player on first. And this is what I do. A lot of times, as you know, the question is, do we throw it down to second base? Do we cut it off? What do we do? And I created this play where I move the shortstop. I move him in here between the pitcher's mound and second base, but he's over on the side. On this play, I'm having my catcher throw it down. He's covering second. Center fielder's got to move up to back up. Remember, I'm throwing it down. What I'm doing here is this. As the ball comes past the pitcher, I have my shortstop snatch up his glove, and let me put my glove on. What he does is, if the ball's high, he snatches up where the ball is. Now, don't forget, he's over on the side. It's passing him. But what I'm trying to do is create an illusion. And I call this creating doubt, because what he's doing, he's timing the ball as it goes past him. He's pretending he's catching it. And then he's putting his hand in the glove. He's turning and he's looking at the base runner, not the coach. He's looking at the base runner and he's like this, like he's ready, almost ready to throw it. And he's kind of walking over towards third, taking a couple of steps. What this is doing is, as the ball is passing the pitcher, again, he's timing it, he's on the side. And you have to have the right personnel for this play. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Because you have to have a shortstop who's a good athlete, and he'll time it almost perfectly, and he has to sell it like he has the ball. Now, what this is doing is, and I've done this a few times, and it worked almost every time. I get the out at second, and sometimes when the third base coach realizes that the ball went through, he'll send the runner late. I've gotten one double play on this. But what we're doing is we're creating the slightest bit of doubt through that coach, where he has to question himself, didn't I see that ball go through, or does that guy have the ball? Should I or shouldn't I send the runner? Where this worked once with me, it was in an all-star game. I was playing a team that was a very good team. In fact, this coach was a tremendous coach. And by some miracle, my team got ahead of his team 3-0. He had a great team. Just that everything clicked in my team in the first inning. And I think this happened in the third or fourth inning. He was probably a little anxious. He wanted to make things happen. So when I had the player do this, it worked perfectly. My catcher threw the player out at second, and the coach starts saying, go. They goes, no, hold up, hold up. So he didn't even try to go home. Again, we're creating doubt. The shortstop is timing it. If the ball coming down is pretty high, he raises his glove. If it's his eyesight, he lowers it. You have to have the right personnel. It's not going to work. Okay? It's a great play. I urge you to try it. You have the shortstop again. Let me just go over it quickly. I just want to make sure you understand. The shortstop moves up, but he's to the side. Catcher's throwing the ball over the pitcher. He's timing it. When he sees the ball, he's snatching his glove. He's putting, again, I'm lefty, but he's putting his throwing hand in the glove, turning to third base. He's not looking at the coach. He's staring at the base runner, taking a couple of steps. Okay? It's creating doubt. That's the name of the play. And if it does create doubt, you'll get a good out on that. And there's a chance you get a double play. All right. The next play is it's a hitting drill where, and we all have heard other people yell out when a player has 2 strikes, just make contact with the ball, choke up on the bat, meet the ball. I came up with a drill where I called it the continuation drill. And what I did is I stopped at the end of practice, instead of batting practice, I had the players go up one at a time. And this is a quick drill. And I told the players, if you hit the ball on the ground fair, or it drops in the outfield between the outfielder and infielder, you stay up. If you hit a ball foul, you swing and miss, the next guy goes. It goes very fast, and you have to be aware. And I give players numbers as they arrive at practice. So pay attention to the numbers. Again, what I do is I try to, it doesn't show it here, I try to pitch from the base of the mound. I throw more strikes, and I have an L screen. The continuation drill, they stay up at bat as long as they hit a ball fair and it's not caught in a fly. What I'm trying to do is, in youth baseball, you have a better chance of having your players get on base on ground balls rather than fly balls. When we're in a game and a player has 2 strikes, I yell to the player, continuation drill, continuation drill. They know in their mind they want to just make contact. They just want to hit the ball on the ground. Okay. Now, in this drill, the players cannot take half swings. They have to take full swings. This drill was very effective, extending an at-bat, extending an inning, extending a game. And I won a few games with this drill. I made some of the players better hitters. And besides that, by making contact, it's really good coaching where we teach our players that as long as you make contact with the ball, you could be an effective player by striking out. If you strike out, but the pitcher had to throw like between 8 to 12 balls, you're building up his pitch count. So you're helping your team. And you really have to emphasize that to your team. And it's making a negative into a positive. All right. So we're going to try to close this out now. And remember, I went over interference versus obstruction. I did the create doubt drill, first and third, and I'm showing the continuation drill. Players stay up at bat as long as they hit the ball fair and it's not a fly out and they hit it, they don't swing and miss. All right, we're going to close it out, and I'll give the answer to the trivia question. Again, try to subscribe. I'm going to have a nice interview later this week. Okay, products. Okay, let's see what products we have. This book just came out this week. My book, Championship Baseball Drills. Check it out. It has 115 drills. Actually, 2 of the plays I went over today are in that. The create doubt drill, and actually obstruction and interference is in there. And also the continuation drill. Great Father's Day gift. We're recording this about a month before Father's Day, 2022, but it's a great present. If you're a coach, check that out. Here's a nice little item, Baseball Chronicles. It's a small little book. It has about 22 different articles I put together just to give you an idea. The articles, baseball creativity in your own backyard, getting kids to practice on time, 5 myths of youth baseball, a whole bunch of stuff. I highly recommend it. Baseball Chronicles. You go to Amazon for any of my stuff. If you don't have the money, I don't want you to spend money you don't have. Go to your library. Insist upon getting the book. I self-publish, so they'll tell you we don't carry self-published books. They will if you insist upon it. Those are 2 products you might like. I have other products too. I'll put some links down. All right, let's get to the trivia question answer. The question was what presidents played college sport, the sport, and the college. I'll go through quickly. Gerald Ford was a center for Michigan, okay? In football, George Bush played first base for Yale, that's 2. And I have the answers up here. Ronald Reagan went to Eureka College. He swam and he played football. Richard Nixon went to Whittier College. He played basketball and football, though he never saw the football field. Let me just see. JFK went to Harvard. He swam and he played golf. That's 5. And the last one is Woodrow Wilson. There's a big one. Dwight Eisenhower is number 6. He went to West Point. He was an excellent linebacker and an excellent running back. That's 6. And 7, Woodrow Wilson. He went to Davidson as a freshman. He played baseball. He later transferred to New Jersey College, which became Princeton, but he didn't make the team there. So if you include freshman sports at the time, what they had it, we're talking about 7 presidents that played college sports. So that's going to about wrap it up. Check out some of our archives on the Schupak Sports channel. I'll put links on the bottom. If you didn't see the Bobby Woods interview, he's a very good hitting instructor, It's not long at all. You could see my show on how to run an efficient batting practice. You can increase the kids' repetitions by 20 to 40%. It's very, very effective. I also urge you check out our website, T-Ball America. If you're involved in T-Ball, we have a great T-Ball course. We teamed up with Udemy, but I'm going to keep producing more and more content, trying to make you a better coach and hopefully also a better parent. So until next time, for Schupak Sports, this has been Marty Schupak.